That's not fair. How often have you heard that complaint? Fairness, in all fairness, fairness is defined as impartial and just treatment or behavior without favoritism or discrimination. However, although that may be the world's definition, question number one in the self-evaluation section kind of reveals our true feelings. Question number one asks this: do I expect people to be fair to me? I think it's important for us to keep in mind that we're living in a time where most people in our nation feel that they are being treated unfairly. It's true. Most people think that they are not being treated very fairly. Folks grumble and complain about their lot in life or what they're experiencing in life. And at the heart of all of this, at the heart of the tension in our nation, is the idea that some folks are being showed preferential treatment while others are facing discrimination. You know, as I have watched the tension grow over the years, what I am hearing is actually not a cry for fairness, at least not fairness in the biblical sense, but a demand for preferential treatment. You see, most people will say that they want to be treated fairly, but they want to be treated fairly at the expense of others. And if you and I receive preferential treatment because we have cried loud enough, while others are not, that's not fairness. That is not fairness, again, at least not from a biblical perspective. Most people want to be treated fairly at the expense of others. The biblical understanding of fairness is this. The Christian virtue of fairness is understand as this. It is not something that we demand from others. Rather, it is something that we should demonstrate to others. From a Christian perspective, to understand fairness and why it's included here in one of these virtues in this disciples journal is fairness is something that you and I are called to show to others, not demand from others. And yet the world, when it says it wants fairness, they are demanding it from others. And that is not a true biblical understanding of fairness. The biblical understanding of fairness sees a situation from the perspective of each individual, not simply our own. Biblical fairness does not insist on having our rights over somebody else's. It does not show preference to one person or another. It does not seek more than is needed. In other words, fairness does not hoard toilet paper. It doesn't. Fairness does not go out and hoard toilet paper. It's not on a first come, first served basis. To treat people fairly is to do as you would have them do unto you, which is the golden rule. You know, as we explore some biblical examples this week, I want you to keep in mind that we as Christians are called to judge and handle situations with respect and uniformity, even when we have been treated unfairly. That's the biblical virtue of fairness. Even though we have been treated unfairly, we still demand that there be some equality there. We demand that others are treated fairly and justly, even though we have not been. As I said, fairness is what we show to the world, not what we demand from the world. Which is why I said earlier that most people don't really want fairness from the biblical perspective. They're merely demanding preferential treatment. That's what I am seeing in the world today. This call for social justice, this call for fairness, this call for equality is not really a call for equality or justice or fairness. It is, I want my needs met while others are not. I want preferential treatment in this world. And that's what I'm hearing today. So we need to dismiss this whole idea of the world's understanding of fairness and instead embrace a biblical understanding of fairness. A biblical understanding of fairness as Christians, you and I need to realize it is an action that we demonstrate to others. It's an action you and I demonstrate to others. It is not something that we demand from others. We have to dismiss that whole nonsense that we see in the world today. As we look into the world today, we think there is a big cry for fairness and justice, but there's not. It's a selfish cry for cater to my needs. Give me what I want. Make me more important. Put me to the head of the line. And that's what's happening a lot in our world today. So we're going to look at some biblical examples this week, some passages of Scripture to help you and I, as Christians, understand why this topic of fairness is included in one of the characteristics that should be found in a Christian, why it's in this study, fairness. I'll say it one more time. Fairness is something we show, not something we demand from others. And we'll look into this a little bit more tomorrow as we spend time discovering what it means to be a transformed Christian living in this world. My name is Pastor Greg, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.